Hello, everybody. Crypto traders around the world. We're back with another episode of Crypto Talk Radio, found at cryptotalkradio.net, aka Basic Cryptonomics. Thank you for joining here today. My name is Leister. I'm your host. We've got a couple topics I want to go through. First, let's get the particulars out of the way, and then we'll jump right into this. Once again, that site is cryptotalkradio.net. That's where you're going to find all of our past, present, and future podcast episodes. The podcast is on all major podcasting platforms as well. Feel free to check that out. Let us know what you think. Link at the top says contact. Click that, fill out the form. Come straight in. We read each and every one of those. We appreciate hearing feedback from our listeners, whether you're a subscriber or not. We would appreciate your subscription if you're a first-time listener. We again welcome you here. We think you're going to find it's completely different from any other crypto podcast that's out there. And hopefully you get great enrichment to the point that you feel like you want to spread the word out there. The last thing I'll call out is our Triad membership. The Triad is where we are trying to build a community of serious investors, not the kids that say the word Jeet and say the word Keck and can't half read. We're talking serious investors that believe there's something to this cryptocurrency thing, and they want to talk to other grown adults, other serious people. Get away from the toxicity. Check it out. On the site, click on Triad. It'll tell you about our different tiers for joining the full-on Triad. If you still have questions, you can join us in our Discord channel. cryptotalkradio.net/Discord will take you straight there, and anybody will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Given that, let's go ahead and jump right into our content for today's episode. Okay, I felt like I needed to get this recorded a little bit earlier than I normally would do. Of course, you're probably hearing this after the fact on cryptotalkradio.net. My name is Leister. I'm your host. Welcome or welcome back, whichever applies. But normally I announce when I'm going to do a recording for the tribe members who can listen live and choose to. But this time I wanted to go early, get it out of the way because a lot's going on. And I wanted to keep it fresh on mind before I forget. Plus, there's a lot going on the personal side. My car that I'm keeping, I ordered some new tires and rims. Those should have arrived at the shop today, so I have to schedule to get those installed tomorrow, hopefully. There was nothing wrong with the original rims too bad. I mean, there was curb rash, but wasn't too much wrong. They were decent otherwise. But the tires were mismatched. One of them had a nail right in the tread, so I had to do a fix a flat to keep it going. And so I figured I'll just pull the trigger, get new rims, new tires, get a fresh start. And then later, I want to get there's some minor body work I want to get done. It's kind of this off-white weird thing that I don't like, and I want to deal with that. And then it's got like a couple of dime-sized dents that I want to just deal with. So once I get all that done, then there's mechanical. I'm going to be driving down to Flagstaff because all of the Ford dealers up here suck. And so I have to go all the way to Flagstaff to get my damn car serviced. That's fine because I'm going to treat it like a trip. I'll just go down there and spend a couple days, probably this next Wednesday, I'm thinking, if not tomorrow. I haven't decided that part yet because I got to get the tires on first and I'll think about it. It might be tomorrow or it might be next week. Then the other car that I don't want to keep, it's at the body shop. I had them tow it because I don't have insurance. I purposely didn't get insurance because I don't drive it. So it's down at the body shop. That one, I just have to get it ready to sell it. So there was some body things that needed to be dealt with there. So I got to deal with that. Then I got to figure out how to get it up to the place that I'm going. Then I have to figure out the timing of going up there. I've already got most everything packed up. Most of my stuff's in crates. That's going to come due in 4 days. So I'm ready now once I get all these car things sorted. And then I'm expecting a pretty large check, deposit check coming in either today or tomorrow. Massive from all the extra hours I put in with my first endeavor. So once that hits, I'll be pretty much recovered financially from I went at this point, it's like 2 months without a check. And then I just got the first one a couple of weeks ago on the new rate structure. So that's more money. They bumped it up from my client. And then the second endeavor, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm trying to work them on a part-time basis too. And that'll shore up and add a little bit extra, more like spending money because that goes to a different account. So that's where I'm in personal. There's a lot going on. However, I've adjusted schedules on the podcast at Casual Talk, and I've adjusted Combat Talk ever slightly. I haven't adjusted Crypto Talk yet. Don't plan to. Let's go ahead and dig into some numbers. I'm going to skip the transition. First, let's look at Coindesk.com. And I zoomed out to the month chart, and as I told you on the last episode, it appeared like we were heading downward. You remember, that's what I said. You look at it now and you saw the price overall, you saw that what Leicester said was the truth, and it is what it is. It's not crapping, but just seemed like it was heading down, and so it is. And so today, there's significantly more red than green. There's a couple of things that happen. A lot of the different meme garbage out there crapped, largely led by Shib. I'm going to be talking about that here shortly, but a lot of the crap coins crapped, like Pepe crapped, Shib crapped, and some of the other ones crapped out. This caused some stress on Ethereum, so that went down. And then there was a little bit of liquidation activities. There were just some general sell-offs because of sentiment in some places. All of this together created a perfect storm of crap out. So if you look across the board, pretty much everything went down. XRP went down, BNB went down, which is rare. Cardano went down, Doge went down slightly. So everything went down. This is not specific to any one token. It's across the board. There's two ways to look at this, though. You can look at it as a buying opportunity if you're one of those that believes in cryptocurrency and believes that things will recover again. Or you can look at it as the end is near and this is the beginning of the end. It's up to you and how you perceive it. If you're asking me, and I don't know if you do, but if you're asking me what I feel, I've always said that the core coins can never steer you wrong. No matter what, they're going to recover. It's a matter of time. And there's a lot of other secondary things happening that are playing into some of the sentiment things, but we also have to get to 2024 and see what everything looks like, because the thought is that 2024 puts us in a more positive spin. I can't guarantee this. I am saying that there's a lot of activity, a lot of sell activity. We see the stable coins are giving us indicators of this, and the total market cap I talked about before. Notice we lost some, so we're down again. We're down. So it's not just any one token, and I want you to take that and understand it's not just any one, it's across the board. What you choose to do about it is really going to be predicated on your own strategy and what you choose to do. I can't say or tell anybody what to do. All I can do is make recommendations and share my thoughts accordingly. Today's episode, though, outside of the numbers, so let's set that aside, is going to largely settle around Shib and the Shib ecosystem and Shibarium and Bone and to a lesser degree Leash. Why? Because today was the first time that Shytoshi Kusama, who is the lead developer for the Shib ecosystem, was supposed to be doing a presentation at ETH Toronto, which is a whole shindig out there. And so this had created some hype leading into this event. Every part of the ecosystem went up. They all pumped because they were expecting this major announcement for Shibarium's release today that was scheduled to be announced today. I'm not there. I saw a little bit of footage. I saw his piece. I saw snippets of what was going on. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw, to be quite fair. I don't know if that was him or they just figured they would try to wow people. But I'll be honest. I get the sense it's crypto bubble. I get the sense that these people felt like this would be, we're the cool kids, and so we're going to appeal to the cool kids instead of appealing to serious investors. That was my impression when I saw this business, that what they did might have gotten over in a room full of college, frat boys or something, or, maybe even a high school, whatever. But I don't know that it played well into serious investors. And trust me, there's a lot of very wealthy people in the Shib ecosystem, evident by its market cap, or at least market cap that was. So when I saw this, I already knew something not good is going to happen. There were a lot of people then on social media that were chiming in about how they felt about it. And I saw a couple of people, and I responded and said that the rumor and innuendo is that Shib, or Shibarium specifically, was going to be, fake. It wasn't going to show up. It's going to be, and everything was going to crap. And I said that if Shibarium does not show up, it's going to be like the failed November 13th Vegas event for Saitama, as in unreasonable pumps leading up to some event where an announcement's made about the release of something that doesn't happen. And then because it doesn't happen, the token itself craps and doesn't recover. In Shib's case, Bone's case, to a lesser degree, Leash's case, I think recovery was always kind of assured. It's weathered the storm. Anybody that's been in the ecosystem may remember these used to be aligned with Ryoshi's Vision, which is another token that's now dead. And I told those jack-offs that they were going to be doomed to fail because of what they did when they were running Shiba Swap. Once they went on their own, as in the Shib ecosystem, it seemed like things were getting back on track. But a lot of people claimed that Shytoshi was making claims that he was not backing up. I wasn't privy to any of these. They are in Discord, they're not on Telescam, but I don't go to their ecosystem, forums, because what I found, I used to be on the Reddit one, and there's a lot of, I'll say skepticism there. With Discord in general, it's really just damage control. Every time you go in there, there's some chaos that's happened and he's having to play damage control about whatever went on. This has happened multiple times. As a result, you might have people that have like dust amounts in wallets. There's no reflections on Shib, but sometimes when you try to do sells, it doesn't sell all of them. So it creates a dust amount, which inflates the holder count. The holder count for Shib has fluctuated up and down. So when this thing happens and he does this crap video that would appeal to frat boys, as I say, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I don't know that that's going to resonate with the right level of people. And I think we got a problem here. I don't know, but I think we got a problem here. So all of a sudden, then I start seeing people left and right who are giving me more context about what happened that I didn't see. So this thing, it's putting up a QR code that has a Shib logo, and apparently you scan it, and apparently it takes you to some site. Now, I don't do that because I don't do smartphones, but some people chimed in about what they saw, including Believes, and I was shocked. I'm like, really? That's what it was? So I'm going to share some of these tweets because I think it's important to put context around what people are saying and why this dump happened, this most recent dump that was pretty significant. User Forgotten TV Pirate says, quote, Zach Humphreys, where's the video on Shytoshi wrecking the entire crypto market today while offering his scented book like we should all be grateful? Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Hopefully you don't gloss over it like Austin Hilton did, like we shouldn't all be pissed. And I know you're listening to this saying, what the hell? So apparently, I didn't see this, but apparently this ad, this QR code, is to take to some, landing page where Shytoshi apparently is shilling a book, something about 44 tenets, TENETs. I don't know, 44, whatever. But apparently somewhere he had offered to spray the book with his favorite cologne. And I'm thinking, okay, either he's just in the bubble or he's a sociopath or he's a narcissist or he's high. I don't know, because I'm trying to wrap my head around why would you think this would appeal to people unless if your head is so far up in the clouds, you think that you just walk on water, because that's like a Richard Hart thing. That's a Richard Hart type of behavior of, yes, I got this book and I'll spray it with arrogance like Rick Martel back in the WWF. And so I went further because I'm like, that can't be what happened, right? User Richard Millie Crypto says, quote, so Shytoshi announced that he's collecting $20 million in book sales and leash holders had a 1 hour head start to buy the limited edition book with Shytoshi's signature and perfume. Tell me whatever you want. That was probably the lamest announcement / presentation ever. And then follows and says, looks like my prediction will be correct. Shibarium not launching tomorrow. Shib dumps. I collect money from shorts and re-enter closer to Shibarium. Easy money. So again, this is a person talking about this perfume, that this book is to be sprayed with some sort of essence of, something. So I saw Shytoshi on Twitter. He had reached out to anybody who's a leash holder and said, come to Discord. I have an exclusive something for you. I didn't think anything of it. I don't hold any leash, but I didn't think anything of it. I figured, okay, if you're a leash holder, when Shibarium launches, you're going to get this benefit fresh out the gate. That's because they talked about leash was going to be a benefit token for Shibarium at one point. So, okay, you're going to tell them that once we announce this thing at this shindig, here's what you're going to get day one. But apparently what they told the leash holders was ahead of this whole announcement, hey, you idiots, you can go and get this smelly book 1 hour ahead of time, limited edition, and I need to get $20 million worth of these sales. And apparently there's 10,000 limited. Like, listen, there are people who write books. I bought a bunch of books. I have a bunch of books in my closet that I'm waiting on building a bookshelf. There are people who write books that, they just put the book out there because they know that people want to hear the story. There's all sorts of great stories to be told. I'm on the verge of buying some other books. And then there's, collectors books like the Harvard Library, and there's so many other books that are truly collectible quality. I can't imagine how just delusional you got to be to think that for this one person that doesn't even show his face, that he's important enough and the price, I was told, is 1 ETH for the book. If you haven't been paying attention, the book, or ETH rather, is $1,800, just short of $1,800. So $1,800 and I think it's an ebook. I don't think it's I think there's a physical one for the limited and the ebook for everybody else. And somehow I don't know, but $1,800, regardless, whether it's a physical or not, $1,800 for somebody that doesn't show their face, that's just a name on the internet. Like, we're not talking somebody who is a famous actor or somebody who's a civil rights activist or somebody who went for women's rights or somebody who was a politician or somebody who created a school or somebody who saved kids or somebody who saved immigrants. Like, we're not talking somebody who changed, like a Nobel Prize winner or something. We're talking a name who has an NFT as their avatar on the internet, who worked a cryptocurrency project that doesn't really do anything yet. I don't know. Okay. User Phantom Brandon says, quote, "So let me get this straight. All these cryptic messages from Shytoshi was to promote a bullshit scam NFT book. Bro, I'm going to be honest. Shy is a sketchy dude, as in Shytoshi, won't show his face, promoting scams and leading the community to believe it was Shibarium, and Shibarium spelled wrong. Credibility lost forever." User Ray Ray says, quote, "Shytoshi really launched a book and not the Shibarium network. Dead." User Ivano Brown says, quote, "Everyone, can we have Shibarium now? Shytoshi. The best I can do is a smelly book. Pissed off me. Gets blocked on Shib Discord for saying this. Still got to hodl onto a dream, though." User Sean AG Music says, quote, "I think the real question is legit or scam. Shytoshi just promoted a scented book that costs more than $1,500 currently per book. A scented book, y'all. Let's see what other scented news comes out tomorrow." User Carrie Silverhand says, quote, "I love Shiba Inu, but that speech was not it at all. Eyes were literally all over Shiba during this event, and Shytoshi literally talked about his new book he's selling and limited edition Cologne. What the fuck? We need a better spokesman, please, Shiba Army." User Brandon Baxter says, quote, "What a letdown once again," spelled wrong. "For the second time in a row, Shytoshi completely," spelled wrong, "lied to everyone, and we all thought Shib would run up today, but instead I got wrecked for being loyal. You guys need to get rid of they clown," spelled wrong. "All he did was shill his piece of shit book today, no announce of Shibarium," spelled wrong. User Gold Knox says, quote, "Did anyone else catch it? Shytoshi at Blockchain Futures Conference said he was spraying his book with his favorite expensive cologne. Seriously, Elon Musk had Tesla create a fart cologne that was one of the most expensive. Will Elon use the book to reveal his signed identity?" User Wave Jumper Wave says, quote, "Shib and Bone dumping. After it was revealed Shytoshi was looking to sell a book at ETH Toronto and showed some images of the dump graphs, and they were pretty significant dump graphs." User Gold Knoxes says, quote, "Did anyone else catch it? He said he would spray it with his favorite cologne." So it's a repeat. Selling his book for $2,000 in response. We all got played. User Cult Tetra says, quote, "Shytoshi really is the master of hopium and a snake oil salesman, teasing Shibarium to the loyalists of Shib at every turn to pay a voice actor to shill a book and a cologne on stage at a blockchain convention for sale for only 1 ETH, a piece of history." User Simp Hunter says, quote, "Ha ha ha, damn went all the way to Toronto to buy a book from Shytoshi covered with cologne for 1 ether. Ha ha, oh my God, could you imagine? Shy. I mean, I've seen some scams. What that guy just pulled has to be the boldest scum thing I've ever seen." User Arzilla says, quote, "Shytoshi rugged the whole market by shilling his book. What the fuck am I seeing?" User June says, quote, "The Shib longs got liquidated and Shytoshi shilled a book in Cologne while on stage. Let's hope that bridge works." User Luscious says, quote, "My man Shytoshi went up there and said, you got to be book smart and smell good too." User Pete DPB says, quote, "Shytoshi's sing moment was beyond horrible. All that for him to sell an autographed book when no one knows who he is?" User Rudder XBT says, quote, "Shytoshi really just went up to shill a book in Cologne. Holy shit, this guy. Bruh, I'm so fucking done with this industry. Leash holders 1 hour head start." User Redacted Chapo says, quote, Shibarium is the name of the cologne, not a layer two. So, it goes on and on and on. I'm good. Listen, I don't know. I wasn't at the frickin' event. I saw the video. I saw the QR code. You'll see the QR code on the thumbnail of this episode because I want it to be out there for perpetuity for as long as it lasts. But the messaging out here is that this guy was shilling a cologne. He was not a cologne, but a book sprayed with cologne, allegedly. A book. So remember, the whole point of this was to announce this layer 2 blockchain called Shibarium that they've been waiting on. This has been over for years. I want to say the first announcement of this wasn't like 2021 that this freaking thing was announced. And so it's been years of anticipation and built up demand. And then, of course, again, the Shib ecosystem didn't do anything prior to this. It was kind of like, okay, we're here and we got a strong community, but the community was getting impatient. They wanted to see more tangible progress. So then once we got to hearing that Shibarium was going to be a thing, then they announced that, I talked about this, then they announced that, okay, Bone's going to be the gas, not Shib. And people got pissed off back then because there's too much Shib. They said the supply is too damn high. And in response, what they said was, Shib is being influenced by the exchanges. Shib is controlled by the exchanges. They don't have any control over it like they do with Bone because Bone's not on the exchanges, which I get what they're alluding. They're saying that there's so much, it's been so invested in the exchange layer that they can't just suddenly say we're just going to burn a crap ton. It's kind of like Binance and Luna Classic. They don't have control to just simply fix the damn thing on their own because it's held essentially hostage. And so then this pisses people off. They're like, well, wait a minute. Nobody bought Bone because nobody had bought into Bone up to that point. Bone was not marketed anywhere near as heavy as Shib had been. Leash wasn't marketed anywhere near as Shib had been. Shib was always that child focused on. The other children were kind of abandoned in a sense. I remember when the holder count was a fraction of what it is. And I remember when Bone went as low as 20 cents. I think that's its all-time low. And then this recent dump that happened last year, it went down to like 56 cents, if I recall. Well, here we are, and it went up to close to like $1.70, $1.72. And its all-time high is like $40. So Bone has not had the same level of attention. Bone's not on every single centralized exchange. Bone has a very constrained supply. It only has 250 million, I think, at this point. So nobody was really buying into Bone. Most of the attention was Shib. It was always Shib. And the focus was on the burns for Shib. Then there was chatter about, well, doing Shibarium will help burn Shib. They didn't really explain how. They just said, okay, this is a thing. And then they said that Bone will be the gas token for Shibarium. But then they never really announced until recently when Shibarium is going to be launched. So here we are, and we've got this Bone sitting around on people, and people are starting to FOMO into Bone because they're hearing Bone's going to be the gas token in expectation of a launch that's supposed to happen today. There was no guarantee it was going to happen today. And I think people just they heard what they heard, right? And they got really excited over what they heard, but there was really no fundamental to it. Now, I said, if this doesn't go off, it's going to be just like the failed November 13th event for Saitama, because it's the same thing. You have an event, you announce it far in the future. You say on this event, this is going to be released. You get to the event, it doesn't get released. The price craps because people are not happy. In Saitama's case, it never recovered. In Shib's case, I think it can recover, assuming they deliver. They have to deliver a product. But I think today's episode, and maybe this is always by the plan, and I think them not talking about the plan hurt them. Because if you look on the program for this, it even says that they're going to talk about Shibarium today. It says they're going to introduce it. He didn't say anything about Shibarium today at all. So I think that's part of it. You say on the program, because you have to give them that topic. You have to tell them what the topic is. So he told them, I'm going to be talking about Shibarium today. And he never talked about Shibarium. So that hurts sentiment. Then he says on various forms of social media, he's got a 16-slide keynote tomorrow, and allegedly that's going to be the release of Shibarium announcement. Okay, let's say that it happens. We haven't even guaranteed that it's truly the announce of it's going to happen today or tomorrow or whatever. So what happens if he pulls a Steve Jobs, where, hey, I'm going to talk about it, but it's not going to be out till December. I guarantee you, Shib is going to go in the crapper if that happens. It's going to go in the crapper because, as some people have talked about, if they don't deliver this now, It's going to crap. A bunch of people are going to die off, and they're just going to sell because they know they can buy it at a lower price point when it gets close to the launch. See, they're kind of in a corner because they're expecting this damn thing to launch. And if they don't do it, there's no incentive for them to hold it. It's not like they get any benefit from it because people are selling out right now. And so you have an opportunity to buy it at a discount, really, especially when you talk about bone, because bone apparently is the heart and soul of it. So if bone goes down even further than it already is doing, you're giving people an opportunity to make, get in at a really good price point, which isn't a bad thing. I'm saying that from a sentiment perspective, you're pissing people off, frankly, dude. So I don't know what to think about it. I'm shocked, hearing about, a book announcement and then hearing about spray with Cologne. It's some Richard Hart type stuff. Like, this is the kind of stuff you wouldn't expect from a developer of Shib of all people. And I can only imagine either one or two things has to be the truth. Either Shytoshi Kusama is Richard Hart under disguise, which I don't think, but maybe, or he's been influenced to the point that he thinks he's bigger than he is. I can only think it's one of these two. I can't think that there's anything else around it because it's so out of this world, the announcement that was made, that makes no sense. My messaging to everybody out there that is in or watching the Shib ecosystem is simply to say, I don't know what to think. I'm honest. I don't know what to think about it because, why would, for this many years, right? Why would you scam now? And it's on almost every damn exchange at this point. What's the incentive? What's the end game, right? Of cheating people now? Why would you do it now? And if I look at the bigger picture of it, if I look at the analysis, the bigger picture of what was said, I come to one strong conclusion. I can't prove it. I have no evidence. I'm making no accusation or statement of definitive fact. I'm simply saying if I analyze it, I come down to one conclusion. And that is, he's just got a big head. He thinks he's bigger than he is. He's got the Richard Hart syndrome. They treated him, they meaning Shib Army, treated him with a God complex. They treated him like you're putting on a pedestal and he's this, kind of like the cult leader on Saitama and all these other ones, where we glorified this guy and it gave him a big head. He can't stay humble. It just isn't what it is. The weird thing about it, right, is let's assume that's what happened. Let's assume that he just got a big head because the community treated him this way. Why would you treat him that way? It's contradictory to the fact that there's been so many failures, and I don't want to say broken promises, but failures and gaps in delivery, things that didn't go right, things that didn't go well. I mean, I could go down the list. The freaking Coinbase Pro listing was all screwed up, and people lost major amounts of money. It had never recovered from that fiasco. All the way to the first announcement of Shibarium, where people expected it to be Shib because that's what they were told, only to be told later it's going to be Bone, which nobody held, all the way to Leash peaked at like, I want to say $4,000-$6,000 and crapped down to like $200 freaking dollars. All of these different missteps from the Shib community and this guy. So why would you glorify him? Why would you put him on a pedestal? Why would you treat him that way to where he gets the big head? And I can only surmise that there are other people I don't see that are feeding this and are causing this to the point where all eyes are on him now. If he doesn't deliver tomorrow, it's not going to end well. It's not. Let's say he does deliver tomorrow. Let's say there is a strong announcement. It does what it needs to do. People will FOMO in naturally. They will FOMO into the thing. But that means then that freaking layer 2 had better be rock solid if there's any, like that freaking Polygon with the sunflower game or whatever it was. If they do anything like that where it just gets dropped to its knees or it gets hacked like some of these other ones, like they have to walk on water. I can't imagine the level of pressure that's going to be on him because of what he did today. Like, I want to make sure you're clear. He's not out of the woods. This now compels him to perform. From tomorrow onward, he's got to announce it's coming. He's got to announce it's coming soon. And if it comes out and it's got any problems, and I know that sounds unrealistic or unfair, but it's the truth because of what he did today, because of specifically what he's doing. A book with Cologne spelled, that is some Richard Hart type stuff. So I'm going to be watching it. I'm curious. I'm truly curious how this all ends. And I don't want people to fall for the FOMO. I do want people to take advantage of profit opportunities. I do want people to realize that if Shibarium becomes a thing, Bone will be the gas token. That's all I can tell you there on that. And if you look at the supply of Bone, if assuming that Shibarium could actually get developers on it, because that's another thing we haven't talked about, assuming you can get developers and looking at Bone supply, you can draw, some people drew a parallel to BNB. I don't draw a parallel to BNB. I draw a parallel to something like, Phantom, right? To me, it's a closer parallel in terms of where it is. And BNB, remember, has Binance.com backing it. Phantom is its own little deal. So to me, it's closer to like a Phantom in what we can see or what we can expect. And if we look at the price movement over time, that price movement is substantial. Now, Bone is higher priced than something like those for now. But when Phantom starts peaking off of the run up from Ethereum, Phantom went high. Phantom went real high. And so it gives you a sense that Bone could theoretically go real, real high. It's just a matter of time passage and assuming there's no screw ups. That's why I said that all the spotlight's going to be on this dude to perform tomorrow and see what happens. And again, please, please, please be careful. Do not fall for the trap of FOMO because it's going to be strong on this one. I can guarantee you this. And hopefully it all turns out well. I wish them well. I'm never a fan of leaders, quote unquote, who do crap like this because it just harms the community. That'll do it for today's Crypto Talk Radio episode. I want to thank you for listening today. We know you've got choices. CryptoTalkRadio.net. If you would, we would appreciate. At the very top, we have a contact form. Fill that out. Let us know what your thoughts are. If we're doing great or something you don't like, we always love to hear from our listeners. If you don't mind spreading the word, we would also appreciate that. If you think other people would benefit from the type of coverage that we do, we work hard to try to be different than every other type of podcaster or YouTuber that's out there. So hopefully we're on track with that. Finally, our YouTube channel, of course, is at Basic Cryptonomics. If you want to find us on there, those are dedicated, specific, exclusive types of episodes. So you'll hear things there that you won't hear on the podcast and vice versa. Check us out there for more quick and dirty coverages. Until next time, take care.